Last month, my own mother looked me in the eye and said, "Your sister gets sick every time she sees your face. Pack your things tonight." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I picked up one gray duffel bag and walked out of my childhood home without a single word. What happened in the 7 days of silence that followed changed everything.
My name is Tiffany Seard. I'm 34. Last month, my mom looked me in the eye and said, "Your sister gets sick every time she sees your face. Pack your things tonight." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I picked up one bag, a gray duffel I'd had since college, and I walked out of my parents' house without a single word. My dad stood in the hallway the entire time. He watched me carry that bag past him. He said nothing. Not one call, not one text, for 7 days. Then my dad called, then my mom, then my sister. I let every single one ring. But those 7 days of silence didn't break me. They gave me something I'd never had before: clarity. Before I take you back to that night, take a second to like and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is right now. I read every single one. Now, let me take you back to a Thursday evening in April, the night my mother chose my sister over me for the last time. I'm standing at my parents' kitchen sink, warm water running over a casserole dish. Thursday dinner, the same routine I've kept every other week since I moved out 6 years ago. The house smells like garlic bread and lemon cleaner. The TV is on low in the living room. Everything feels normal. Everything is fine. Except Jocelyn has been in my mother's bedroom with the door shut for over an hour. I can hear the murmur of her voice through the wall, rising and falling. My mother's voice is lower, soothing, the tone she uses when she's absorbing someone else's crisis like a sponge. I rinse the last dish, dry my hands on a striped towel, folded in thirds out of habit. That's when the bedroom door opens. My mother walks out first. Her face isn't angry, it's decided. Angry leaves room for argument. Decided does not. "Your sister says she gets sick every time she sees your face," she says, flat, like reading a prescription label. "I need you to pack your things tonight." I look past her down the hall. My father is standing near the coat closet, one hand on the doorframe, eyes on the floor. "Did you ask what actually happened between us?" I said. "I don't need to." Her chin lifts.
I fold the towel once more, place it on the counter, and walk upstairs. My old bedroom, the one I gave up at 12 so Jocelyn could have her own space, still has a shelf with my college textbooks. I pull the gray duffel from the closet and pack it in under 4 minutes. My father is still by the coat closet when I come down. I walk past him without stopping. He's had 34 years to say something. Tonight isn't going to be the night. 3 days before the duffel bag, that's where this really starts. I'm sitting at my parents' dining table with my laptop open, helping my dad reconcile a bank statement, something I do once a month because numbers make him nervous. That's when I see it. A credit card charge, then another, then 14 more. $4,200 spread across 3 weeks, all on my parents' joint card. Boutique clothing sites, luxury skincare, a handbag reseller, not a single business expense. Jocelyn told our parents she needed the card for startup inventory for her online boutique, her third business idea in 2 years. I don't bring it up to start a fight. I bring it up because my father is 64, retired on a fixed income, and $4,200 is not nothing. At dinner that night, I keep my voice level. "Jocelyn, these charges don't match any wholesale supplier I can find." She doesn't blink. "You went through my purchases?" "Dad asked me to reconcile the statement. They're right there." Her fork goes down. Her eyes go wet instantly, like a switch. "You always do this. You always have to make me look bad." "I'm not making you look like anything. The receipts." "I can't do this." She pushes back from the table. Her chair scrapes the floor. "You have no idea how hard I'm trying, and all you do is judge." She's up. She's down the hall. The bedroom door shuts. And then my mother is standing, her napkin crumpling in her fist, staring at me like I just set the table on fire. She didn't need to yell. Jocelyn's weapon was never volume. It was tears. That night wasn't an earthquake. It was just the latest tremor in a pattern that started when I was 12. That was the year my mother told me to move my things to the basement because Jocelyn, at 8, needed her own room to develop her creativity. I didn't argue. I carried my bedsheets down 2 flights and made a corner work. My dad stood in the doorway that night. He raised his hand like he might knock, maybe say something. Then he turned and went back upstairs.
When I was 22, I graduated summa cum laude from Virginia Tech, project management major, double minor in data analytics. My parents came to the ceremony. They sat in the back, they stayed 10 minutes after, and left because Jocelyn wasn't feeling well. I found out later she had a headache. At 28, I got promoted to senior project manager at Lockwell Infrastructure, the youngest in the company's history. I called my mom from the parking lot, still shaking with excitement. She said, "That's great, honey. Listen, your sister just got yelled at by her boss and she's really upset. Can I call you back?" She never did. Every milestone shrank the moment it entered that house. Every achievement got filed behind whatever crisis Jocelyn was performing that week. I kept achieving because I believed that if I did enough, they would finally see me. That was the lie I told myself for 22 years. I wasn't angry the night I packed that bag. I was exhausted. There's a difference. Anger still expects change. Exhaustion has stopped asking. Let me tell you about my sister. Not the version you'd hear at Thanksgiving. Jocelyn is 30. She's smart. She reads a room faster than anyone. She knows exactly when to let her eyes fill, when to press her lips together like she's fighting tears she's too brave to release. It's instinctive. It's the only tool our family ever rewarded. When her boutique went under last year, $12,000 of our parents' money gone. She didn't say, "I failed." She said, "I'm scared that Tiffany was right about me." And that thought makes her want to disappear. My mother heard "disappear" and stopped hearing everything else. Within 20 minutes, she was on the phone with me. "Do you see what your criticism does to her? She's fragile, Tiffany. She's not like you." That phrase, "she's not like you," was the leash they kept me on for years. It meant, you're strong, so you absorb the damage. She's weak, so she gets the shield. But here's the truth. Someone who never faces consequences never builds the muscle to survive them. Jocelyn isn't fragile because she was born that way. She's fragile because every time she started to crack, someone rushed in to glue her back together before she could learn to do it herself. My mother retired from teaching 3 years ago, after 31 years at Maple Ridge Elementary. She loved the structure, the morning bell, the small faces that needed her. When that ended, she came home to a quiet house and a husband deep into fishing and cable news. She needed someone to need her. Jocelyn volunteered without knowing it. Every crisis gave my mother a classroom again. I was the opposite problem. I paid my own rent at 22. I managed multi-million-dollar infrastructure projects by 26. I didn't call home crying. Good news didn't give my mother anything to fix. So the family ran on unspoken rules. Never question Jocelyn's choices. Never bring up money. If there's tension, Tiffany adjusts, because Tiffany is strong.
I used to wear that label like a badge. I didn't realize strong was just the word my family used for expendable. The duffel weighs 11 pounds. I know because the strap digs into my shoulder the same way it did on move-in day at Virginia Tech. I set my parents' house key on the kitchen counter next to the folded towel. I don't slam the door. I close it the way you close a chapter you've read too many times. My car starts on the first try. I pull out of the driveway, past the mailbox my dad repainted every spring, past the oak tree Jocelyn and I used to climb, before climbing together stopped being something we did. 40 minutes on Route 29. No radio, just the hum of tires and my own breathing, steadier than I expected. Marcus is standing in our kitchen when I walk through the door. He sees the duffel before he sees my face. He doesn't ask what happened. He just says, "I'll make coffee." I sit at our kitchen table. My right hand drifts to my stomach. 10 weeks. A life I hadn't told anyone about except the man pouring decaf at the counter. I was 10 weeks pregnant. And sitting there, staring at that gray duffel on the floor, I made a decision that had nothing to do with my parents or my sister. My child would never grow up wondering if they were enough. I reached over and turned off my phone. The screen went black. For 7 days, I disappeared. Here's what I didn't know that night. The anniversary party my mother had been planning for 6 months was already falling apart without me. Jocelyn had volunteered to organize the whole thing. 63 guests, private dining room at Belanti's, printed invitations, slideshow, catering deposit. It was her latest performance, proof she could deliver. Day 1. I wake up at 6 like always, shower, drive to the office, sit through a 90-minute meeting about a highway overpass. Nobody at work knows my mother kicked me out 12 hours earlier. That's the thing about being trained to absorb. You get very good at looking normal. Day 3. Still nothing. Marcus watches me from across the table. Do you want me to call them? No. I want to see how long it takes. That night, I open a spreadsheet, the same template I use for project risk assessments. Columns, date, event, who said what, result. I start typing, not to build a case, just to see the pattern laid out clean and linear.
Day 4. My phone buzzes. Dad. Hey, Tiff, your mother's been upset. The anniversary party is in 3 weeks, and we need to figure out the seating chart. I count 10 seconds. Is that why you're calling, Dad? He clears his throat. I'm calling because we need to talk about this. You had a chance to talk about it. You watched Mom tell me to pack my bags, and you said nothing. That's not fair, Tiff. Exactly. I hang up. Day 6. 2 missed calls from Mom. 1 voicemail. Marcus accidentally plays it. Her voice is clipped, efficient, classroom voice. Tiffany, this has gone on long enough. Your father and I want you at the anniversary. Jocelyn is willing to put this behind her. We all need to move forward as a family. 43 seconds. No apology, just a job offer. Show up, perform, keep quiet. Day 7. A long text from Jocelyn, 4 paragraphs, 3 mentions of the party, 0 real apology. Can we please just be sisters again? The party won't feel right without you there. Mom put so much work into it. She wasn't reaching out to mend anything. She was casting a role. She needed me back so the family portrait could look perfect. That night, I call Aunt Ruth. She's been quietly watching for years. Your mother is doing to you exactly what our mother did to me, she says. Don't wait as long as I did, Tiffany. I decide I'm going to the party, not for them, for me, and for the child I'm carrying. Saturday morning of the party, I choose a charcoal blazer over a camel blouse, professional, calm, the kind of outfit I'd wear to a board meeting. Marcus drives. Ruth is already inside, seated near the door. 1 nod when she sees me. The room is draped in ivory and gold. Jocelyn is working the room in a coral dress, heels clicking, playing the perfect hostess. The slideshow starts. 46 photos. I appear in 3, always at the edge, never the subject. My mother thanks Jocelyn for putting this whole beautiful evening together. She doesn't mention my name.
Dessert plates are cleared. Jocelyn stands with the microphone. She thanks our parents for always believing in her, even when not everyone in this family made it easy. Her eyes flick to me for half a second. She raises her glass. To family. Messy, imperfect, beautiful family. The room clinks. Applause. I set my glass down untouched and stand. I don't need the microphone. My voice carries. I'd like to add to that toast, if that's all right. 63 faces turn. My mother's hand freezes on Jocelyn's shoulder. Jocelyn said family is about forgiveness. I agree, but forgiveness requires honesty, and there's been very little honesty in this family for a very long time. I keep my voice level, calm, specific. 3 weeks ago, my mother told me to pack my bags and leave because Jocelyn said looking at my face makes her sick. Nobody in this room was told that. Some of you were told I was having marriage problems. That's not true. I list the pattern: the basement at 12, the graduation cut short, the promotion call that never got returned. Every time Jocelyn struggled, I was blamed. Every time I succeeded, it was minimized. Aunt Ruth stands. She's telling the truth. I watched the same thing happen to me 30 years ago. The room turns to my mother. She stays silent. Jocelyn stands, chair scraping. You're lying. But this time there's nowhere to run. No one rushes in to rescue her. She picks up her clutch and walks out. My mother follows. My father stays seated. For the first time in 34 years, he doesn't follow her lead. That night, after we get home, I send an email to both my parents with 3 clear boundaries. No shared room with Jocelyn until she acknowledges what she did. No discussing me with extended family unless I'm present. Respect these or I walk away. I also tell them I'm pregnant. 3 months later, the nursery is pale green. The crib is ready. Little wooden birds turn slowly above the mattress. The gray duffel bag is washed and folded on the top shelf of the closet, part of the record, but no longer needed. My father calls on Wednesdays, short, careful conversations. He's trying. My mother sent a card. I'm trying. 2 words, not enough, but more than before. Jocelyn remains silent. I'm not waiting for them to be perfect. I'm protecting what I'm building. Endurance is not a family value. Transparency is. And this is where the new pattern starts. That's my story. If you've ever been the invisible one in your family, the strong one who was expected to absorb everything, type "I see you" in the comments. If you were the one who finally stood up and spoke the truth at a family gathering, tell me what happened. Would you have spoken up at that anniversary party, or would you have let it go? Drop option A or option B below. Neither is wrong, both take courage. Hit like if this resonated, subscribe for more stories like this, and share it with someone who needs to know they're not invisible. Thank you for staying until the end.